Hey everyone, welcome to my channel and also welcome to my series of Ascendants. If you don't know what your ascendant, your rising sign, or your Lagna is, click on the few links that I have mentioned in the description below and find out what your ascendant or your rising sign is. What you need is your time of birth, your date of birth, and your place of birth. If you don't know your time of birth, ask your parents or look at your birth certificate for your time of birth. Okay, so let's look at the Aries Ascendant or Aries Lagna, which means when you pull up your Vedic charts, you have the number 1 in the first house, just like this. Okay, so what does this mean? So, firstly, Aries Ascendant is ruled by the planet Mars, okay, and the first house is Aries Ascendant. That's what it means. uh, Mars traits are predominant in these people because the first house is ruled by Aries, and the Lord of Aries is Mars, just like Scorpio. So there are two signs which are ruled by Mars. So the personality is very Mars-like, which is uh, they are extremely energetic people. Okay, they have this vigor to do something, especially if Mars is well placed. Great athletes are seen with Aries ascendant. All right, um, especially if Sun is in Aries. Some really legendary athletes are seen with Sun in the first house if you are an Aries ascendant. Okay. They also have a lot of courage because Mars is again the significator of courage, of being this general. They like to be in command. Uh, you could see people in high positions in organizations. You could also see some really strong, dominant, aggressive politicians who are Aries. Uh, but mostly it's people who are involved in something to do with the physical body, since they have lots of energy. So these are not the people that sit on, they like to sit on a desk, or sit in an office all day and not move around. That's not something they like to do. These are people that are competitive. They like good competition, which is why good sportsmen are born in Aries ascendant, right? So let's look at the second house. The second house is ruled by Taurus, okay, and the lordship of Taurus is Venus. So their second house and their seventh house is ruled by Venus, which means Aries ascendant are quite good at saving money, investing their assets. They're careful about spending money. They are not people who just spend money for no reason. Okay, when they invest money, they look at long-term investment, right? How they deal with their family is also very Venus like. Okay, they're very soft and nice. They're very protective about their family because they have this Mars energy of being someone that is dominant and wants to protect their family. So they're usually very caring and nice with their family. um, with this spouse, because seventh house is ruled by Libra. Okay, so with their spouse, they firstly usually attract very good looking, very beautiful spouses. Even if they are women, they will attract a very good looking man. And they also like to do things in partnership. They're very fond of doing things together. So if you're an Aries ascendant, you would want to do, even if you want to start a business, you want to have your input, or you want to say, you know what, would you want to partner with me in this business, with their spouses? Okay, and somehow they still seem to have that Mars nature with their spouse. So they could have conflicts with their spouse because of their dominant nature. They could at times get quite aggressive as well. Okay, so if you're an Aries ascendant, you need to keep in mind that you shouldn't be dominant, because that would cause problems with your spouse. Okay, now let's look at their way of communication and their siblings. So we are looking at their third house for this, and we are looking at their sixth house for what kind of enemies and how they will deal with enemies, obstacles, disease, debt in if you're an Aries ascendant, right? So the competition bit still remains there with their siblings. If they have siblings, they might be nice and they might be good with them. They might communicate quite effectively with them, but they would want to be better than them. They would want there will be some kind of competition if you're an Aries ascendant, because the Mars energy will be there in pretty much everything that you deal with. All right. Um, their enemies could be extremely analytic, because your sixth house is ruled by Virgo. Okay, so um, they need to be careful about how they need to be patient and not be aggressive how they deal with their enemies, because their enemy is ruled by Virgo, and Virgo is known to be the calm and the analytic kinds. All right, and Aries is known to be the full of life, aggressive, dominant, full of energy, confident, and the courageous Mars energy. Okay, which is not very much in sync with the intelligent, analytic, and the soft-spoken Virgo energy. Okay. The fourth house of the Aries ascendant is about their home, their comfort, their mother. So these people are very attached to their mothers. Okay, they are very attached to their homes. They want to have peace and comfort in their homes, and they're quite gentle about any affairs to deal any affairs or anything to do with their homes, because Cancer rules their fourth house. Okay, and if Moon is not placed very well, so there could be some kind of ups and downs in their homes. But usually Aries ascendants have a very nice and good caring relationship with their mothers and with their homes. So that's that about their children, which is ruled by the fifth house. We're looking at their fifth house now. So they're usually very they're very very good with children, because they themselves love physical activity. So if you're an Aries ascendant, um, you would get along. Most Aries ascendants, I've noticed, they just get along with children real good. They could run around and play with children, in power with the energy level of the children. We see that adults, so the children are always running around, but these are the Aries ascendants that are usually are running around with the children and playing doing all the physical activity with the children. So they are able to relate to their children really really well. Also, the fifth house rules their creativity and romance. So they like to do something big when they want to do something creative. Okay, because Leo rules that. Okay, they want to show that off. If they have something creative talents, they would want to tell people about it. um, let's look at their eighth house. I've already kind of mentioned the eighth house, because Mars rules the Scorpio energy. So these people are very secretive about their in-laws. They're secretive. They don't want to talk much about their wives' families and what is going on in their wives' families. They could also have great interest in being a detective, or anything to do with something that is hidden, to find out. They might have a great interest in detective or suspense series and stuff like that. All eighth house related things. They could have great interest in astrology as well. because Mars again rules their eighth house. Okay. They also need to be a little careful about certain ups and downs because Scorpio rules their eighth house, and Scorpio is ruled by Mars once again. Um, and make sure that they are not doing too many things in secret, because if Mars is not well placed, then their secrets could come out into the world. Okay. Now let's look at their ninth house, how they look at principles, how they look at religion, how they look at long distance travel. Firstly, they love long distance travel. They're usually people who like to believe that there is some kind of supreme power. They could be firm believers in God, in their own religion, or if they don't, they are usually the people. They're usually people that follow principles. And Jupiter also being the lord of the 12th house, they love going to monasteries. They like donating, working with NGOs. If they have made a lot of money, these are people who could travel to a pilgrimage. They could go to a long distance. If they go to a long distance, go to another country, they would want to see how the churches are. They would want to see how how the normal people live and interact with them. Okay, so this is all controlled by Jupiter, because Jupiter is the lord of their 12th house and ninth house. So these people could also spend a lot of their money, because 12th house is also the loss is also seen from there, and ninth house of travel. So they could also spend a chunk of their money in traveling the world, right? Now let's look at the 10th house. The 10th house is governed by Saturn, and the 11th house of gains, networking, is governed by Saturn again, Aquarius, Capricorn, and Saturn. So these people usually have obstacles at work. Their work, and their career. If they're in business, or if they have a job, it's usually not a smooth ride. Okay, because there's sixth house where your daily work is also seen. Your daily everyday life is seen from the sixth house. Okay. Uh, since Saturn rules their 10th house, and the house of and their 11th house, they are usually very structured and disciplined about what they do. Okay, but their success comes a little late, because Saturn is something that tests if they are patient, are they structured, are they organized or not. And same applies for their gains and their network circle, their older siblings. Their older siblings could be again a very disciplined, very Saturn-like behavior. Could be a very patient person. Could be very structured and organized people. Okay, so their network circles and their gains and what they gain through their work could be very slow. But what's interesting is Mars, their ascendant lord, it is exalted in the 10th house of Saturn. And Saturn, being the lord of their 10th house, is debilitated in their first house. Interesting, isn't it? Now, what this means is, since they have this Mars energy of being a general, be full of energy, they love being in the 10th house of career and work, which means these guys love having people do things for them. They are good managers. They can make excellent, fantastic managers, because they have the command. If these people say something, people will do it. Okay. And similarly, if the 10th lord, which is Saturn, comes to their first house, it becomes debilitated, because they don't like taking orders from someone. Okay. We need to understand Mars a little bit to understand the Aries ascendant. Okay. Mars doesn't like receiving orders. Okay. And remember, Saturn is the significator of the working class people. Saturn is the people working under you, and your boss is also Saturn. So these people don't like a boss on their head. So any planet comes to your first house will have a very strong, significant impact on you. All right. Apart from your ascendant lord. So if you're an Aries, Mars is definitely the most important planet for you, but any other planet that comes in there will have a very strong impact on you. Okay. So that was my analysis of the Aries ascendant. And if you have any more questions, please write to me. If you want to know more about these things, please subscribe to my channel, and I will keep posting videos about astrology and all these kind of things. You can also go to my website www.swamisaptaparni.com if you would like a consultation or if you would like to talk to me. I'm happy to talk to you. All right, well, thank you so much for your time, and you have a very good day. Talk to you soon.